Hello everyone. I have another little project here. This one is also a Defy kit. This is pretty simple and most of the materials are readily accessible. So I like to share my videos as many places as I can. That way, if you're not a artist and you want to try this, you got an idea what to do and how to do it. And it's always something new. I like different. So sometimes I have to tell you though, our kits are for sale in our auctions. There won't be any in August. It's our Angel Hop, and so I only have a little bitty short time, and I haven't sent these kits out yet, so I never know what's left over until after I've done sending them. But this project is a lot of fun. It's kind of different, but sometimes I'll pick up something that I either have or have been donated, and I'll play with it, and it's laying close to me in the studio because I kind of work that way. Whatever is laying around is what I pick up to work on. Then after I've determined what it's going to be, I'll get up and I'll go gather everything I need. But sometimes I just have to play for a little bit. So in this kit you get a piece of sliced driftwood, 2 wooden spools, and you will get 4 yards of black or white cotton cord. And I went with 4 yards because the way I put it on here, it is 2 strands in each side of the necklace. So that lets you have it be, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4 yards. So it's like 36 inches long, and you can tie it however long you want it. And that'll kind of make up for some knots and stuff too. So the first thing that you're going to do is make sure you don't have any rough spots, and these are driftwood, so they're not all going to be perfect. And we're just going to, this is a little bit rough. It's really not that rough, but I'm just going to, just take a little sanding block and kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, on this one, honestly, I just collaged on it, didn't know what it was going to be until after it was done. And there's some painty papers on the back, and this is a piece of printed art of mine. I copied some of my art and made myself some prints to work with. And this one is a magazine image, and it has the 2 birds. There was more birds, but I just picked out the 2 that fit on here the best. And I'm not finished with this one. I've only went part of the way, and I haven't done the back. If you're going to glue it in a book or something, there's no sense in doing the back. But I did it as a pendant. And then on the 2 little spools, all I did was cut a strip of painty paper and cover them. That's all I did. Real simple. So we're just going to kind of work through one real quick. I printed some more of my papers, and I really like this one with the eye. I don't know why, I just think eyes are cool. So one of these has eyes, yeah. Has a set of eyes, and then there's a face. But I'm going to try the eyes first. And I'll just cut out my paper. And I'm sure this is going to be too wide, so I'm going to cut it as small as I can. And as always, after I've collaged, I've went in and added some doodles. I like to do that to make sure it's mine. Yeah, it's going to be too big. I kind of thought it might. And I really don't have an eye or a face that I like. So, just going to put the single eye on there. I just think that's what I want. So we're just going to tear this one. I could have grabbed the scissors, but we're just going to tear it. Get my trusty little glue stick. Now, I know I've said be generous and burnish. That's really important when you're doing it on wood. So let's put the eye where I think I want it to be. And just going to burnish it down. And I like to take my edges and go over the ends because, it just helps them be a little bit stronger and a little more I don't know, finished or something maybe. Let's see if I can get a little closer here without going crazy. Okay, so now I'm just going to fill it in with parts and pieces, and again, no rhyme or reason, just whatever I find that I think I want to put in here. Now you're working in a small area, so you don't want to use great big pieces. It would be better to do lots of tiny pieces and get you a cool pattern going than a big piece and try to cut it to fit. So I like that one, and I think I want it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it all the way around till it's covered. Now, if you don't burnish it, those little pieces that fold over could easily peel up down the road, like that one's wanting to. But that's okay, because I'll put something like this to cover that and hold it in place a little bit better. So we'll just take this one. I'm going to just go like that, get that side down, and then I'll work this one down. If you happen to be, especially down in the points, if you happen to be where you have a curve, you may have to take your scissors and kind of put little darts in it, little slits in it, so it'll curve around the edges. But you might not. It may work out just fine. So this is an arm with a hand, but I love the black and white. So I think I'm going to tear the hand off and just use this part. And if you notice, I don't ever really think about it. It is okay to do it that way. And it's also okay to, I don't really like that there. So I want to use it because it's black and white. So I'm going to put it back here. So it's, at least it's still being used. And this is where I have a little tear there, so it automatically is going around that curve perfectly. But that would have been a place to snip it if you needed to get it to take the curve. Yeah, I think we'll put the other eye at the top. Kind of weird, kind of fun. Oh yeah, I like. Oh, slipped down my. And it's kind of funny because like on this one, I have the eye and I see a face. I see this is a mouth and this is a beauty mark and this little thing here is its nose. It did not intend to be that way. That's what I've seen in it after the fact. And a lot of times that's what makes it really cool, is what you see after the fact. Now you have all your little scraps and you can use them or you can pitch them. It's totally up to you. I tend to save them. I never have before, but I have had a few projects lately that they work really, really good on. So I like these little yellow polka dot thingies. And it's all my doodles right there. So I'm going to put this one right here. And it's going to go around and it's going to have a curve. And it's going to need to be snipped just a smidgen. Let's get the littler scissors. And I'm just going to snip it so it will curve. And it overlaps ever so slightly, but it curves and lays flat that way. And I probably will have to do the same thing with this one. And this one will probably be more noticeable because of the lines, and they won't exactly match up. See how they don't quite match up over here? Almost, but not quite. Which is okay. It's really okay. But it lays nice and flat. So that's what I'm going to do, is continue collaging this. And that's this one here. Like I said, I kind of ran out of what I wanted to do. I just put the birds on there, and I guess from there I'm going to have to come up with something in that color scheme. This is kind of cool because I have one collage of mine that is making me a pendant also. So I get to love the piece in more ways than one. I like that. And this one just kind of fits right in there and what's left. I'm going to burnish it down. You could always get your bone folder, your scissors, the lid of your glue stick. I do sometimes use my hands a lot because the exercise doesn't hurt them. And the heat, I just feel like makes a big difference. Maybe it doesn't, but I think it does. So we're going to go with that. Now this is just a plain old painting paper. This isn't a copy. And I'm just going to tear a little piece of this off because I'm not really sure where it's going or how I'm going to use it. This is a good way to use copies of your art or things you like because you can make them thin to wrap around, and thin always helps a lot when you're doing a collage on something more three-dimensional. Actually, I prefer to use a thinner paper for most of my collage, but journals and stuff is a little different. I think we need to kind of get a little more, I don't know, a little more, I don't know, which is always a good thing. We'll see if we like it because you know what? It's just a piece of paper and a little bit of glue. And if we don't like it, then we just move it or we throw it away. And I like that. I like that little bit right there. This one's going to go around several places, so I'm going to just put a few snips in it. I got to get to where I'm not cutting the wood, which I'm not really cutting the wood. I guess I could do it this way so I can see where I'm cutting. And we'll just put this first little piece down. And then this little piece didn't cut very good, or didn't cut all the way. So we'll go down there, and then this one, and then we'll fold that one in. And that way they go where they're intended, where they curve and make it fit better. Just burnish it. Work it down on the edges. You have a tiny little piece here, so let's see what's laying here. That would be good. This would be good. And just add a little touch of yellow, but I don't want that white on there. So it's gonna... Whoa. I love this glue, but when it gets really warm, it's really soft. So let's put this little bitty piece right there. And you know, when you do little pieces like that, it all looks like it's supposed to be there. Come on, focus better. There we go, it's better. Not perfect, but better. We have a little piece at the top. No, we don't want any of those. We want something more fun. Something more fun. Put that on there. Yes, the folds are going to be towards the front, so we got to be kind of cautious on how that looks. And if we don't like it, we can always take it off, put another piece on it, so it doesn't look like it's wrapped around, which seems to be filling in pretty good. I'm okay with that. It looks pretty good to me. Oh, now the piece is moving. Thank you. So we have that. We have covered up our hole, which is no big deal, but you do want to wait and poke it out after it is completely dried. You don't want to do it while it's wet with the glue because it's going to want to move your paper. So there's your finished piece, and that little piece does not want to stay down, so we're just going to give it a little help. So that is our finished piece. And then for the beads, that you put on it, you're just going to measure this. It's under half. I would say it's probably 3/8. And I would probably cut myself straight lines for this one, maybe even cut it on the paper cutter, because you want it to fill it in pretty good. And this is a little narrow, but it makes the point. So I'm just going to use a piece of painting paper or magazine page or whatever it is I've decided I want, and I'm just going to wrap it around. Stop it where you want. You can overlap it. It's all good. And so there's your bead. Again, I'm just going to make sure it's nice and burnished down. And that's all there is to that. Now, this is already on here, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this off to show you how I do that. Actually, I'm not going to pull it all the way out. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get things in that hole. You can use a little piece of wire. You could use crochet hook, stick your crochet hook through and pull the cords through. I don't have that material with me. I don't have any of those with me right now. I have a pokey tool, so let's just try this. So I want to get this in here, and I am having so much trouble getting it through there. So try to bring it to as much of a point as possible, and if that doesn't work, which by golly it's going to work, you can do that. You could put a crochet hook through it, like I said, and pull that through. You could put a little piece of wire on this, like a needle that's folded, and bring that through. I like to go from the front to the back. Doesn't matter. All that does is when you pull that through to make your necklace cord, it makes this part nice and pretty. Otherwise it would look like that. And that's not ugly either. So because we have this, and you could easily just use one piece of thread or cord, that's quite all right. You will take your little bead, your spool thread bead, which were also a very welcome donation from a very special person. Then you determine where you want to put it. Do you want it, close? Do you want it up here? However, I'm going to put it wherever this knot lands is where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to tie a knot and hope it's big enough to keep the bead from moving around. And it is. So then I'm going to tie another knot here. Now, if you want to get a little different with your beading, you could string it. And I'm gonna do the other side different, just so you can see a different way to string it. I'm just gonna put it through one thread. Figure out where you want it. Okay, so I think we're gonna stay right there. And I have my finger where I want the knot to land, so I will pull this through, just like we did with the first one, and I'll pull it until the knot is where I want it. And if you want them even, you can always do this, use your pokey tool, and make sure that you slide your knot down to where it's going to be even. When you wear it, it's going to be spread out, so it's really not going to show too much unless they're like inches apart. So you have it on just one thread. So now you could just bring it up and knot it again, and you'll have one going through and one going around. Just another design element. That's all it is. Then when you get done, you figure out how long you want it, just to kind of slip over your neck and just hang down there and tie a knot. That's all there is to it. Cut off your extra if you've got extra, if you wanted it really long. So either way is good. Also, this could be done backwards, which this one could easily hang either way. But let's say this one, let's use the back side of this one, okay? So this is what I've done, and I go in, after I've done it, I have went in with my pins, like all these little polka dots have all been extras, kind of like all my collages. I just doodle and add a little more colors, and the same thing with this one. So this is our finished piece. Now, you could use this to hang down and add charms and beads on it and put it on the cover of a book or on the spine of a book. So this isn't necessarily a piece of jewelry that's designed as a piece of jewelry, but hey, we all have imaginations to take it wherever we want. And that's what I want to see you do. So again, anyone who shares their pictures, I would love to see what you make with what these little bitsy bits of things are. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.